This new Cloud Nothings album is the same as usual.
That's not even a bad thing considering they still sound exciting, the drum beats are as driving and propulsive as ever, the sweetening melodies that they work into their raucous post-hardcore aggression are really convincing and satisfying, as they have been on all their previous releases, and most of all, on an entirely irrelevant note, the Twitter account is Wilden and they have the best Coldplay cover on the entire damn site.
Pretty sure I heard Scatman John in there somewhere.
The issue with Last Building Burning comes with the fact that while it is good, it's also just passably good. Not an exciting change of pace, not even one that is highly cathartic either. It's just good, and to be honest, that's quite commendable anyways. And while I think it is good, I was hoping for a lot more in the way of rambunctious energy. Instead, we get incredible dissonant tension and earth-rumbling movement on the opening track, and then on track 2 we hear a pretty awkwardly thin vocal melody take all of that away from the album's atmosphere.
He won't deserve you, but you will take him on.
Indeed, the drumming is ferocious, the guitars are thick and fiery and satisfying, and the melody on the hook is uplifting to big degrees, but there is an awful lack of power that this track seems as if it was begging for. And I think when it comes to the track The Echo of the World, I start to realise what's going on, and that's the fact that Dylan Baldy's vocals are totally buried by everything else. Because even when he does scream his lungs out, you can barely feel the power. Don't get me wrong, there's still wonderful angst and explosive despair to pull from Last Building Burning, often a burning sense of desperation and primal urgency, fueling the rise of life-threatening stakes, the same kind that I love to hear from the same band with a Twitter persona that claims to have written every Drake song. It just doesn't last for very long. Big case, the sparse gap between the two ends of the 11-minute Dissolution that just doesn't pick back up cathartically enough to justify such a milquetoast breakdown. It doesn't hinder all of the album though. When Baldy sings repeatedly that he's moving on to another way of life on the closing track, you nearly want to join the journey with him. And on Offer and End, there's a rasp in his voice that switches on this inner power inside me, the kind that would want me to yell really loudly, but then I just end up hiccuping instead. I actually think all of this would sound incredible live, by the way. I wouldn't even miss a chance to catch it in that setting, because that's a place where everything on record would be amplified in terms of power and charisma and urgency. The studio recordings are hard to click with in that same regard, but Wave's collaboration aside, I'll always respect the Cloud Nothings hustle nonetheless. And so my score for Last Building Burning is a fatigued, profusely sweaty and injured 6 out of 10.